Glad to have IRS agents Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler join me now. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here today. Gary, let me start with you. When you heard this news or you saw it cross your phone that President Biden, after saying more than 10 times that he would never pardon Hunter after he was convicted on the tax charges that you believed that he was likely guilty of, what was your reaction?
Well, hi, Martha. Thanks for having us. So I wasn't surprised at all. This was something that was expected. You can tell by the maneuvering of defense counsel that this was on the horizon. And, you know, the thing that's surprising is that the President of the United States lied to the American people about what he was going to do. And really, it calls into question, you know, other things that he may have been untruthful on right now.
I think one of the questions that is on a lot of people's minds, Joseph, is whether or not the president did this to protect himself and his own potential understanding of these taxes, these business entities. But here's what President Biden said in his statement. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out because he is my son, and that is wrong. Had the plea deal held, it would have been a fair, reasonable resolution of Hunter's cases. Joseph, what's your reaction to that?
I honestly think that that's completely ludicrous. I'm a Democrat, and I'm a person that believes in the rule of law. When you look at what he was charged with, criminal tax evasion, and what he pled guilty to, there's thousands of taxpayers who honestly file their taxes. They pay their taxes on time. And I think they should be disappointed by this because they're held up to a standard then that's different than the political elite. And I mean, that's, at the end of the day, that's what I'm most disappointed by, was that this person was given a free pass for a 10-year period to essentially commit whatever criminal conduct that they wanted to commit.
Yeah, so this pardon covers 2014 to 2024. Gary, do you think, and this goes back to the question and that you spoke to Bret Baier about way back when, do you think that any of this would have led to President Joe Biden, and do you think he's protecting himself just as much in this move?
Well, it was clear the Department of Justice didn't allow us to take any investigative steps that would have led to President Joe Biden. But even in the investigative steps we did take and some of the work done by the House and their impeachment inquiry, it was clear that Joe Biden was involved, and it was really selling the access and giving Hunter Biden the opportunity to get these lucrative contracts while providing really no service overseas.
Joe, what do you think about that? Does this move, this pardon, protect Joe Biden, the President of the United States, from potential legal ramifications?
Well, first off, his own Justice Department tried to protect him from any thorough investigation being done by us. We were limited in the questions we were allowed to ask witnesses. We weren't allowed to talk to family members. So his own Justice Department shielded the family from being investigated. And it wasn't until Gary and I stepped forward, David Weiss was announced as special counsel, that actual criminal charges were brought forward in this case. And he actually pled guilty to those charges. And I want to be clear on something, that criminal tax evasion, what he pled guilty to, is not the fact that he didn't timely pay or file his tax returns. He filed false tax returns willfully when he was sober after he wrote his memoir, which he profited off of. And that's what I want to be so clear on, is that this was conduct after he became sober. This was felony conduct after he was sober. And it was clever, and the president's letter didn't bring up any of that conduct.
It's a great point. The president says that all of this was an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting tax and selective prosecution. Gary, before I let you go, I want you to tell me what has been the impact of becoming a whistleblower on your life. Do you still have your job at the IRS, and what is that day-to-day like for you?
Yeah, just completely isolated. My senior leaders don't speak to me. They put me in a corner. And the latest is that they told me that I had to choose to either step down or to resign. And, you know, I'm counting on the whistleblower protection laws and the Office of Special Counsel to
Why did they ask you to take a lower position or resign? What was their reason?
I think it's just part of this whole effort to retaliate against me. They've several times.
Are you going to sue them?
The Office of Special Counsel is where you go through as a federal employee to bring allegations of retaliation, and they investigate it. And then we'll take this to the Merit Systems Protection Board, which is a civil court, which will determine their liability.
Joseph, are you able to do your job at the IRS these days?
I've gone through a massive depressive state. I mean, it's hard. I'm isolated. I'm marginalized in the investigations I can conduct. And I mean, I've lost personal relationships. I've lost a lot of things. But again, at the end of the day, I'm an honest person. I think again, I believe in the rule of law, and I would have done it again over and over again. And what I can tell you, Martha, is that Gary and I are actually trying to hit back. We have a defamation lawsuit against Abby Lowell, and it's a way that we can hit back. And we have a good group around us that support whistleblowers. Gary and I are on a government salary. We're doing this very limited amount of, we don't make much money in our job. And we have to now hit back, and that's the way we hit back is through this lawsuit.
All right. Well, good luck to you. We'll be watching. It takes a lot of courage to stand up and do what you both did. And we appreciate you being open and candid with us here today. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.